Hey, this is Jeff at Miller's RV, and we consider it our responsibility to help you enjoy the journey by being able to know how to use the different systems. So what I want to give you today is Trailer 101, just the basics that you need to know to be able to use and enjoy the travel trailer you're in. So first of all, a couple basic things. There are two power systems in your trailer. There's a 12 volt and a 110 power system. So 12 volt comes from the battery, the 110 system comes from when you're plugged in. Now, when you're plugged in, there is also a converter that will provide some 12 volt power as well, but they're still two separate systems. And you'll need to know that because some of the features will need to tell you which one's working. So all of your lights inside, all of your water pump, a slide out if you have it, even the igniter for your water heater, even the control board for the air conditioner, all run on 12 volt or battery power. The only thing that runs directly on 110 are your outlets, your TV, microwave, and then your air conditioner cooling runs on 110, but again, it has to have 12 volt to run your thermostat. So if your microwave's not working and your plugs aren't working, you have a 110 power problem that's happened. All of your lights and stuff can still be working. If your lights or something, your lights, your water pump, your water heater won't light, any of that won't work, then we have a battery or 12 volt problem. So two different systems, and you need to know that. The heat is provided in your unit by LP gas. So your heat is an LP gas water heater for the water heater. The furnace is an LP gas heater. Now some of the units will also have, for the water heater, a 110 switch as well, so it'll have a 110 heating element within the water heater. The 12 volt does provide more power, the LP gas does provide more power than the 110 as far as BTUs, so it's going to give you more heat out of your water heater, but you're also going to use your propane where the 110 is plugged in and will allow it to run off the shore connection plugged into the generator or the shoreline. So basic system there, 12 volt battery for lights, water pump, water heater slide, 110 for air conditioners, outlets, microwave, TVs, anything plugged into an outlet like that. That's your basics on there. So let's look inside in a couple of switches that you'll need to know how to function and tell you how to troubleshoot a couple different issues. I appreciate your time on this. This is really going to give you, it's going to help you enjoy it, and it's going to save you some troubling problems that might have some frustrations that can develop if you don't understand how these works. Again, this is Jeff at Miller's RV. If you will too, will you click on the subscribe button and also the notification? That way anything else we put out for videos and information stuff, you'll be sure to get. Okay, so I'm outside of a particular unit. The places, the location of these things I'm going to show you are not going to be the exact same as it will on yours, but they should look basically the same. This is a gravity fill for your freshwater tank. So you can open it up, there's a hole, and you can actually put water into an onboard tank in the RV. Now, if you were at a campground or hooked up to a city water connection with pressure, a hose that turns on a faucet, you're not going to need to put water in here. This is meant for off-grid or off-road use when you're out somewhere where you do not have a water connection, and in that case your water pump is going to pump water out of here into your system. So in this case, that's when you would use that. For what you're probably using in a campground, your water hose is going to provide pressure. You will not need to turn your water pump on, and you will not need to fill your freshwater tank. Let's go look on the other side, and I'll show you what the water inlet's going to look like. So this is your city water connection. You're going to hook up the water hose here and to the outlet, the faucet, turn the faucet on, and it's going to provide pressure inside. This is going to run for your water, for your sinks, showers, toilet. All the water system will run off the pressure from here. You will not need to run your water pump again. Now a lot of times that water fill that we looked at on the other side might be right next to this. It can be wherever the water tank's located on your trailer, so don't worry about where it is, but what it looks like. If you notice, there's another connection that looks just like the first, but it does not say city water connection. Underneath it actually says sanitation, and it says caution. What this is, and your camper might or might not have a second one, if it does have a second water hookup like this, it is a black water tank flush. It's meant to flush your black water tank while you're dumping or after you've dumped, to rinse it out and keep any residue from being left in the tank. You do not want to hook up a water hose to this unless you're dumping. The reason why, as soon as you turn pressure on, it's going to start spraying water in your black water tank. And that will eventually fill the tank up, and when it gets full, it can come out the top of your toilet into your camper, or it could actually rupture the tank. Neither one of those things are very good. So only hook up to this when your valves are open and you're dumping. So while we're speaking about black water and gray water tanks, I need to explain that to you. There are two. There's a freshwater tank, which is your usable water, And then when you've used your water, there are two tanks it can go into, a gray tank and a black tank. The gray tank is primarily filled from your sink, your shower, anything not toilet. Your toilet is going to go into the black tank. Occasionally, if your toilet is located right next, if there's a sink right next to the toilet, occasionally that sink will also fill your black tank. But your toilet is definitely going to go into the black tank. Now, when you're at a campground and have a dump station at your site, your black tank has to remain closed. Your gray tank you can leave open, and your shower and sink water will run through and run out. The reason you have to leave it closed is because these tanks are flat. It's not like a plumbing system in your house where it's ducted all the way out. The tanks are flat. So for shower and sink water, it's just water and it will find its way to the lowest point and get out. But the flat tank, if you're using it for your sewer system, your toilet, the solids are going to end up staying and your liquids are going to run out, and that's going to create a really bad odor, obviously. The other thing is that you will need to put some kind of deodorizing or waste digesting chemical into the black water tank, even in a campground. So what you're going to do is that chemical, it can be liquid or little drop-ins or powder, different ways to do it, and the instructions will be on there as to how much you put in. On a liquid, it's usually about 2 ounces. I do recommend the one that uses a bioagent, not just a deodorizer. So when you put that in your toilet, you're going to put that in your toilet and you're going to use your toilet, and it's going to help keep the odor down and help digest the waste at the same time. That usually lasts no more in the summer, especially, than a week. So basically once a week, or whenever your toilet gets full, you're going to need to dump your toilet tank. So so when we go to dump the tanks, you have 2 tank valves here. They're located. You see how this is an 1.5 inch pipe, and you can actually see the valve is small. That is for your gray water or your shower water. This has a larger valve. It's a 3 inch. That is for your toilet or black water. You want to leave this one closed until you're ready to dump, and your cap here is going to be off and your sewer hose hooked to it, and then in a dump station. Then you'll pull that valve straight out. I'm not going to do it right now because I don't have a dump station here, but these valves just pull straight out, and then when you're ready to close them, you push it straight back in, and that will stop the flow. So again, gray water, it's okay to leave open. The black water, you have to use it, let it get full, and then dump it. Then put more chemical in it, use it again, and dump it. One other very, very important thing about the black water tank is you have to use the special toilet paper for RVs. If you use regular toilet paper, it will eventually clog up your tank and cause major problems. Okay, so I'm going to give you a brief rundown on your 110 electrical system. You will have a cord that looks something like this, hooked up to the outside of your camper and plugged into either a generator or to a shore connection at the campground. That provides 110 power into the coach. That 110 power, again, is running your roof air conditioner, your outlets, your microwave. Most of the camper trailers are going to have 1 AC. If you have 2 AC, then you will have a 50 amp connection, where this one says 30 amp is a 30 amp connection. If you have a 50 amp connection and they're adapting down to a 4.0 generator or a 30 amp connection, you're only going to be able to run 1 AC. If you have a 50 amp connection plugged into 50 amp or a 5 kW or bigger generator, then you probably can run both ACs. I say probably because the generator can vary depending on what size breaker's on the generator. But that's the big difference between a 30 or 50 amp. Most of you can have the 30 amp and a single AC. Let's go inside and look at the 12 volt and go from there. Okay, all the units are going to have a electrical panel that looks something like this. This one has a little button, you open it up, has your 110 circuit breakers here on the left. So your 110 circuit breakers, again, air conditioner, microwave, outlets, and there's also one that says converter, which is behind this panel. The converter provides 12 volt power and charges your batteries, and on the right of this are 12 volt fuses. So if one of the 110 things aren't working, check your circuit breakers. If it's one of the lights or slide out or water pump or any of that, you would check your 12 volt fuses over here on the right hand side, and they should all be labeled for what they are. Sometimes you will also hear a fan running behind this. There's a fan that can cool the converter. Nothing to be worried about. You will have 2 detectors in the coach. You will have a smoke detector, sometimes a smoke and carbon monoxide. Usually that's only with a generator. You will have an LP gas detector. The LP gas detector is usually located on the floor. The smoke detector located on the wall. And so if the LP gas detector goes off, do check. Your first thing to check on that is make sure nobody accidentally bumped one of your knobs and turned the stove on. That one is hardwired into the coach, so if you have a low battery, that will set off. Then the smoke detector is going to be a regular smoke detector like you would have in your house, runs on a little 9 volt battery. That should be your safety detectors in the unit. Okay, again, we're talking about different power systems in here. This is a 12-volt monitor panel. So this monitor panel is going to show you the levels in your different tanks. Now, most of them you're not going to need to worry about, or at least some of them are not. The battery condition and the fresh, because you're at a campground or hooked up, you will not need to worry about the level of your freshwater tank because it's going to be empty. Your black and gray, your gray, if you're leaving your valve open to let it run, it's going to remain empty, but you can check the level of your black. And as you mash the button, it will go up on the little meter to show you when your tank is full. You will have several switches throughout the camper. One is going to be a water pump switch. Again, like I said a minute ago, you will not need that on if you're at a campground because the water pressure from the city hose is going to provide water pressure in the camper. You won't need it. You will also have a little switch for a water heater, sometimes on the same monitor panel. It's a switch that looks just like this. When you flip it on, it comes red. After about 30 seconds, the red will go off, and that's telling you your water heater is lighting. It'll say gas or water heater right next to it. Now, when it lights, you actually will hear this water heater running. It's a pretty good flame. So outside, you can hear it. You can actually hear it from the inside, and you'll have hot water in about 10 minutes from that LP gas water heater. You also can have a 110 water heater, and the switch will look something like the switch right here I'm showing in the video. And that one, you're just going to flip on, and it's going to stay on all the time. Usually, not always, will have a light indicating it's on. Sometimes the switch will even look like this, but one of them, there's one monitor panel that even has a lightning bolt for the 110 water heater and a little gas flame symbol for the LP gas. So the 110 water heater you can leave on all the time. If you're showering and if a bunch of people have to shower back to back, I would turn on the LP gas because you're going to get more heat out of it. So your toilet is going to look probably something like this. This has a foot flush. It could also have a hand flush located right here. With the toilet, the way it's going to work, you simply are going to put your chemical in here, and then when you're ready to dump, you simply can step on it. Now you also have the option, if you step just a little bit and not all the way, it will run water and not slide the valve to dump the tank. Same thing on the hand pull. So your RV refrigerator is a gas absorption refrigerator. You don't really need to understand how everything works, but it allows the RV refrigerator to be used when you don't have 110 power. That doesn't really apply to you, but I want you to understand that it is a slower refrigerator than what you're going to be accustomed to. So when you first turn it on and it's not cold in 3 or 4 hours, or it's not very cold, it's okay. It will take 6 to 8 hours to get fully cold. So one thing to know about it is it's going to take longer to get cold. That's perfectly normal. You're going to have, depending on the brand, it'll look something like this, but there's typically going to be an on-off switch, and then there's going to be an auto or gas switch. You want to leave it in auto. Auto will choose 110 and run on 110 electric for the heating element instead of LP gas, which again, the only reason to do that is just saves your LP gas for use with your furnace or your water heater. So once you turn it on, again, 6 to 8 hours, it will be cold. Overfilling it is actually not great because there needs to be pretty decent airflow out it. So that's one thing just to know about it. It's not as efficient as your home unit, but it will keep everything cold as long as you don't overload the fridge and freezer too much. Take your time, it will get cold. So this is the most common thermostat you're going to have in the trailers. This will control both. This particular one controls both your air conditioner and your furnace. There might be some that does not have a furnace control and has a separate thermostat for the furnace. That's going to be pretty rare. In this case, you will notice there is there's 3 little lights on the side, a fan, a cool, and a furnace. The bottom button says mode, and we'll shift to them. The fan is obviously just going to run the fan only. When you go to cool, you can run, it'll run your compressor. Now on fan, you'll have the option of running auto, on, auto high or low. So auto, it's going to automatically kick on and off as the compressor does. The fan will kick on and off as the compressor does to keep the unit cool. And the high and low will run all the time. I mention this because the air conditioners are a little louder than most people are used to in their homes as far as the fan blowing. So one thing I personally find at night is I turn the fan on high and then set the cool whatever temperature I want to using the buttons on the right here, and then the compressor will cycle on and off as it needs to maintain your temperature, but the air conditioner fan will blow the whole time, so that fan is blowing and it's a constant noise, and I just find it easier to sleep. So just a note there. For your furnace, so your air conditioner is going to blow out of the rooftop unit or rooftop vents. Your furnace is going to blow out of floor vents or vents in the side of the camper. That is an LP gas furnace. So when you do need to when it gets cold enough, you're going to set your temperature on, you will hear a fan start to blow, and you'll start blowing. It'll be cold air first. You'll actually hear the igniter go on and an LP gas flame kick in, and then pretty quickly you'll feel the heat coming out of those vents. If you're not getting heat out of those vents, first thing you do is check your propane. You could be low on propane. So that's how you work your air conditioner and your heating system. The biggest things on power usage and not tripping a circuit breaker, your air conditioner and your microwave are the two biggest power consumptions in the unit. Air conditioner is about 13 amps, the microwave can be about 10. So if you're running the two of those, you pretty much have maxed it out. Now you're fine with lights and your TV and stuff like that, but if you have the air conditioner and the microwave on and somebody tries to use a hair dryer or somebody tries to use anything else that adds or takes away heat, like a toaster oven, you're going to trip the breaker at the campsite. So just remember that your air conditioner and one big heat source, microwave, toaster oven, and hair dryer, are using the majority of your available power. So just don't try to use three things that add or take away heat at the same time. You have a good chance of tripping a breaker if that cut does. If it does, turn your air conditioner off, go outside, look on the pole or the generator, flip your breaker back. Once you have 110 power in, then you can turn your compressor back on. Give it a couple minutes so that the compressor can cycle down. Okay, last thing we'll be covering is in the kitchen. Your microwave is a regular microwave. It's a little smaller than at home maybe, but it's a regular microwave, works on the 110 plug. As long as you have the plug-in you should have 110 power and be able to use your microwave. Your stove and oven are going to be LP gas. Now for your stove top, you're going to turn to light on the burner. You're going to twist the striker if you have it over on this side. I was trying to turn the oven there. And you can twist the striker over here and ignite the burner. That is going to light from the striker, and then once you're on, you'll be able to adjust the heat and the temperature on it. Now your oven is a little bit different. Your oven, you're actually going to open this and you're going to actually set to pilot on the knob, push this in and use a lighter to light the pilot. Once the pilot's lit, you want to give it 10, 15, 20 seconds. And then once it's lit, we'll turn to the temperature that you want it to run at, and then the flame is going to kick in and get your oven. So again, it's going to be manual light, so the striker is not going to do anything for the oven. You do have to use a lighter to light the oven. Again, this has been Jeff Hilliard with Miller's RV in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. Our job is to help you understand how to use these units, and hopefully this information will keep you from having some really frustrating experiences. If you have any questions about how to run another system that we didn't answer, please comment below. We'll do a video and post that for you so you'll be able to figure out those other systems. Again, hopefully this will answer most of your questions and you won't have any issues. Thank you very much, and again, as always at Miller's RV, our job is to help you enjoy the journey. Thank you so much for watching our video. We hope that you found it both informative and entertaining. If you would, like this video and also subscribe to our channel so you can see everything new that's coming out as well. If you have any questions or comments, please list them below. Also tell us anything else you would like us to do a video on. Again, this is Jeff at Miller's RV. Enjoy the journey and click on one of the links to watch another video by us.